Hey, what up? It's Chrissy Lemaire, and I am using AI to do a whole bunch of stuff today. And I figure that I would show people my process because I've been extremely productive and having a whole lot of fun. So let me put on my soundtrack in my ears. It's almost Halloween, one of my favorite holidays. So I'm sorry, I might be a little jumpy. I'm bouncing around to the 1975. So good. All right. So, I'm going through a whole bunch of projects right now, doing a number of things. First is I'm working on my website, but actually I just copy pasted, so let me fix the title. I'm not working on my website, sorry. Well, I am in another window. In this case, I tried to post to Reddit on the Claude AI sub, and it's impossible to post there. I guess you have to have not a single link in the world. I don't know. I didn't care enough, so I'm just gonna turn it into a blog post. What I want to talk about is haiku. Um, Anthropic haiku is finally useful. So haiku is their very, very affordable model. It's similar to the GPT mini models, but I have never been successful using haiku. It was completely wrong a lot. I hated the results. It wasn't even good for tasks. So there's a difference between like chatting with it and saying like, what's the tallest mountain in the world? Where it has to produce facts. That's one thing. But then like coding with it is something completely different. And it didn't do either of them well at all. Um, Whenever I say coding with mini models, I'm talking about running a very specific task. For example, if you need to figure out, like, if you want to rename all of your blog posts to an accurate title, like let's say you're annoyed with your titles, or you need to give them tags, um things like that. That's a task, right? Hey, figure out the tags for this blog post and write it back. The GPT mini models were great for that, and haiku was horrible, and that's up until actually haiku 4.5. It's finally useful. I and wildly, I didn't even realize it wasn't using Sonnet anymore, and this is really a game changer because I get Claude Pro, and um if we go and we look at the settings, it calls me honey, and then the usage. So we could see that there's weekly limits that I have to care about. I don't use Opus. Opus is um it over engineers everything. And so I was just using Sonnet for a really long time, but I'm working on so many different projects that I could possibly meet my weekly limit. But haiku is way lower. And so you could see here, I mean, I'm just slamming it. I'm running something in the background here. Oh, it's not that one. So in the background, I am running this prompt that is going through and saying, take everything from the WP-content directory and move it over and then rename it and do something called title case. It used to be, so DBA Tools is all lowercase, and that's because I'm a fan of Linux, and with a lot of open source projects in Linux, it was always just lowercase. And the problem with that is whenever you brand something as lowercase, first of all, it doesn't work. The internet totally made DBA Tools capital D, capital B, capital A, capital T, ools.io. Google named it that way, then AI named it that way, even though it is all lowercase. Um, but with that, whenever I started writing my blog posts, then I actually had to also, I felt the need to also title my blog posts in all lowercase, and I'm sure that annoyed people. And it finally annoyed me. So now I am having Haiku go through. So you see processing with Claude Code, and it's doing like 97 files. You could see like this one took 1 minute, 13 seconds. So it's going through and it's doing everything that I'm telling it to. So what am I telling it to do? Let's see. This is the website. On the website, so I go through and I say for each file, in files, get the file, then pipe it in. And then the prompt is please update the file according to the instructions original location for the web path is file. That's so that it knows where to rewrite the stuff. And then it says prompt author. So let's go look at our prompt that says author. So this is, I mean, what stands out to me about this is that it's a lot of instructions, and Haiku handles this. Generally, in the past, it's been that you needed a model as big as 4.0 to handle something, and if you were doing the mini models, it could be like 3 lines of instructions, and this is a lot. So, I mean, this is amazing. So it's going through and it's doing all of this. And I have, if we look at our prompts, so the first thing that I did was I had exported DBA tools used to be written in WordPress, and then we're getting hacked all the time. And I was like, man, we don't even need anything else. Like, we don't need the dynamics that WordPress provides. So let me just export it to HTML. And that was September of 2020. With the pandemic, I was extremely exhausted. I just wanted it done. And this DBAtools.io was actually designed initially in 2016, and I haven't updated it since. But now that I have Claude, I can update it. I can design it. I tried like 5 different times to like someone else's theme. But then with each of those themes, you have to go in and there's so many small tweaks that you have to do. And I was like, wait, well, it could just be me and Claude designing this. DBAtools.io, the first idea of it was based off of Notepad++. I had no idea that they were open source. They just looked like another commercial product, and that's kind of the way that I wanted to position DBA tools. Was that you didn't have to care who developed it. You didn't have to care if it was open source. You just had to use the product. And but now um, we have people who want to come to the website to actually use the product and not just be introduced to it. So I made it for developers. I went to cursor.com and I liked it. So if we look, cursor, wow.com. My God. All right. And I was like, hey, it turns out that like I think cursor.com is based off of openai.com. They all sort of look alike now. But what I like about this is that it is made for developers. This is a very developer centric web page. And so that's what I did with DBA tools. So if we go here, I'll show you the new one. So this is the new one. It actually, this works, which cracks me up. So you see that it's just like fake migrating these databases, but somebody who runs this can see the output, which is nice. And then for this, I went through and I looked at all of our logs to see which companies are using DBA tools. I was very excited about the output. 2 years ago, I think 3, somebody came to the repo and was like, hey, I heard a lot about your project and I wanted to use it. And I went to your webpage and it was extremely not useful to me. I can't do anything with DBA tools is free, fun, and open source. Can you tell me what does it do? Um, and they had a great point. So that was something that I also wanted to work through with Claude, was to go through and see which commands to highlight. A lot of these are our combo kill commands where they do a lot of things. I love them, but they also address business issues, right? So you need to migrate, you need to do disaster recovery, you need to test your backups, you need to adhere to compliance with encryption. Log shipping addresses high availability. I'm not a big fan of availability groups, but I do love some log shipping, so I threw that in there. And then also, Update DBA instance allows you to very easily patch all of your servers. So these are extremely useful commands that I wanted to highlight. Another thing that, like, it didn't occur to me was to actually put our book here. A lot of people love the book, they find it useful. It was written by me, Rob, Jess, and Claudio. This highlights the work of the contributors, and it's useful, and people love it. And I was like, wait, that's actually a great idea. To instead of it just being a little link at the top, which um, there should be a link. I just did a thing to change that. Maybe I need to rebuild it. And then, having the articles there, this is beautiful. I like it. This needs to be fixed. I probably changed the casing on that. But I think for this, yeah, I just went to Cursor and I was like, hey, I like this. Make it look like that. And so now it has some of our articles, and that needs to be recompiled. Community's back. So yeah, this is the new site. I did it in a day. I had seen somebody talk about a project a day, and I love that. With AI, you can do a project a day, and I have been doing a project a day. Sometimes it's things that I intend to release. Sometimes it's tools that I just need for my own thing, and people would be like, "It's not the way you're supposed to do it." And it's okay, well, they don't have to do it that way. This is the way I like it. Specifically, I'm talking about reformatting PowerShell, uh, either using PS Script Analyzer, which I don't want to do. I want an interface. I want a GUI for it. So I wrote a little extension. So, um, stay with me if you want, and I will write this blog post with some AI. And I do want to point this out. Some people say they're very against AI usage on their writing. I'm not. I have so many posts in draft that I just never got around to writing because it was so exhausting. And because of that, I lost out on sharing a lot of knowledge. Like there were times where I was like really deep into SMO, really deep into replication, really deep into something esoteric that I needed to get through. I wanted to document, but I just didn't have the energy because it was so hard. And we all lost out on that. And with I use it to augment. So I provide the content and it just provides like the grammar around it. So that's my position, is that I don't produce slop. I produce informed content that somebody else just helped me word better. It's almost like sending it through an editor. And then I get to generate more. I don't make money from it. Um, and but like I help people with it. So I like that. Also, check this out. How cool. Um, I wrote VS Code extension. This is one of my projects per day. I wrote a VS Code extension that does this for you based off of whatever file you have open, which is awesome. So I'll be releasing that soon. So let's go and use AI to write a blog post. And then once I'm done, you can come with me. We'll see how far this has gotten and the kinds of changes that are being made. I mean, this is so nice. Look, check it out. So you remember I was talking about the casing. So it's fixing all of my casing. And also, I don't want this link structure anymore. So it's copying those files over. I mean, how nice is that? This is all just stuff I did not want to do before. And now with Claude Code, I can. And you might be wondering, what's Invoke AI tool? It's a project that I'll load up here, but I'm going to show you after AI tools. I'm going to show you after I am done with my blog post. But yeah, I'm going to be releasing this next week, sometime around Halloween. I love this. So the contributors are me, Claude, and Copilot. Had ChatGPT make a little logo. Wasn't too invested in it. Yeah. I love agentic CLI. Have never built an agent yet though. Okay, so let's go work on this. I'm not gonna finish it. I'm just gonna throw some polish so that I can come back later. All right, so the date is the 25th, 10/26. Gen AI, PowerShell. Yeah, totally. So initially, whenever I wrote this blog post, or sorry, whenever I wrote this post, it was for the Claude AI community on Reddit. So they knew what haiku meant, um, and what it is. And because of that, I didn't have to like introduce it. So introduce haiku versus sonnet versus opus in a short paragraph, comparing it to GPT Mini. And this is true. There were so many haiku posts on the Claude AI forum. Honestly, I would never even tried to use it if there hadn't been so many posts. And I thought that they were bots, and I actually got accused of being a bot. Um, and then I chided someone. I was like, just look me up. But honestly, I don't look the other people up, so it's so easy to just be like, you're a bot. Everything, God, because everything's a bot online. So yeah, I mean, it's true. I've just never used it, and I cannot believe that this is going to become possibly my primary model. Because I'll say this. So currently, I am using Claude Code Chat, which is basically like a really simple wrapper around Claude Code. I could use it at the command line right here, um, but I don't want to. I like kind of a GUI interface. So it's not the slickest extension, but it works, and that's all I care about. But so because I'm running this in the background and it's running Claude.exe or whatever it is, that's also what is powering, that's the model powering this Claude Code interface right here. I could possibly change it. Yeah, look, I could be explicit. Default user. Yeah, so it just uses my default. They need to add haiku. See, it's not even here because it used to be garb and now it's not. So, what's really cool and funny, and I don't know how much I love it, but with Claude Code, you can just say ultra think at the end and it'll think harder. Um, so I want to interact with it. And this is essentially going to be haiku writing my thing. So, um, where it says this, please do exactly that. So, what's funny is that somebody was saying, they were talking to my wife, and they said, "Oh man, I love ChatGPT so much, but sometimes it leaves off a bracket." And my wife was like, "Oh, my wife really loves Claude. She said it's the best coder." And the other person said, ChatGPT, uh, you just have to know how to use it. And it says, you are a software developer. And the thing that I love about Claude is that you can just talk to it and you don't have to know prompting. And that is what I want from my model. I don't want to have to learn a thing, I just want to talk to it. So there we go. So it just added that in. So that doesn't sound like me. And I forgot to throw in make it sound like me. I never say, um, oh, this is very formal. I'm talking to developers. Look at, and then I'll just say like Eater is awesome. Copy path. Look at to see my writing style and write in that style. No marketing. Be direct and write for developers. That's really the only thing that I have to do. I give it the content and then I just make it talk like me. I mean, I'm never going to say making it the sweet spot. A lot of times it does make it a bit too informal. This is true. Yes. I wouldn't say reach, but I'll fix that later on Reddit. I had to redact DBA tools because I was guessing that that's what they got me for when they're like your post has been removed. So I rolled them. DBA tools.io. So the example prompt, I don't know if I'm going to include the entire thing, but maybe I will. I do want to include my PowerShell. I just keep reusing this over and over, honestly. Oops. And I'm just gonna do some notes real quick and come back to it later. But I did want to give a preview of how I do stuff. Just reuse it. And then the markdown from here that we looked at before. Is that really long? This really long? I mean, this one's really cool. To go through and fix my title casing and all of that. The only problem with it is that it uses a lot of markdown, so how am I supposed to show it? Oh, I know. I'll put it on a gist and then just whatever, and then embed it. Fixes.md. All right. Okay, so we'll come back to that later. At least I got that bit done. Yeah, so I used to use Rue Code, and the great thing about Rue Code, it's a VS Code extension. But what you do is you bring your own key, which uses an infinite amount of tokens, and that is it's so expensive. But man, if you have an infinite budget, it might be the best way to do things. But definitely, like 95% there is Claude Code. There you could do the $20 a month Mac Pro, or the 100 Max, or the 200 Max. When I migrated all of the DBA tools test for Pester from V4 to V5, I was on Max 200 and life was amazing. It was incredible. Um, but yeah, so like with Rue, it adds its own super gigantic prompt on top of Claude Code's already gigantic agentic prompt. And this one just seems to not add too much of its own prompt, so that's why I'm using it. All right, so we're gonna close that out. Now let's go and see. I'm gonna start working on the website. Oh yeah, I added Claude. Well, I almost added Claude. Let's to DBA tools repository. Pooh, what? I think I'm just gonna whatever. Yeah, impossible. That had to be something that went offline. Yeah, I'm just going to. I don't even make a good change. I'm gonna merge it and start doing some things. It's taking forever because I'm switching right now from AppVeyor to Azure, and in the interim, all of my CI/CD tests are taking 2 hours each. So this would be 4 hours per PR. So it's gonna go in with a little X, but I'll just run it later right before I fall asleep. Okay. And now I should be able to go in and say, Claude, please add documentation and a PR that describes. So this person said it's not useful for system version temporal tables. And another contributor said that's the point of system version temporal tables. And then Reese said, okay, well then can you put in some documentation? And so I'm going to ask Claude to do that for me. And we'll see how it works. Because now I can ping Claude. I should see some two little eyeballs pop up. There we go. This is Claude. And hopefully we'll see a PR soon. This will be my first time ever using it. Okay. So let's go back to, I was also working on the website. So you could see I'm working on like 75 projects at once. Ah. Let's go rebuild it. Maybe it's in the middle of something. These are all, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting the files, and I go through and I pass each of those files, oops, through Invoke AI tool. Okay. So let's rebuild this, see if it works. I probably caught it in the middle. Oh. Let's see where it's at. Where am I at? I'm in the website. So I'm going to create a new chat so that it could clear the, it could start with the clean context. You can see here it says that I'm in YOLO mode. So each of these CLIs, um, so Claude Code is a CLI. It's just like at the command line, you type in Claude, and then this specific VS Code extension wraps it, and my PowerShell wraps it. But each of these, like, they can stop you, and it can be not be interactive because it's like, hey, do you really want me to create this directory? And these are all personal projects, and it's on a developer machine, so I just say YOLO. Um, just approve everything. This does open me up to it executing, essentially delete your hard drive. Um, but worth it. I have snapshots anyway, so whatever. All right, let's go here and do this again. All right, now whenever I go here, it's already refreshed, which is pretty cool. Here's my interactive fake Migrator. I love it so much. It's migrating Northwind and pubs. Throwback to the 90s. Those are still my favorite sample databases. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Still need to fix that. I think that this should stand out a little bit more. Oh, but check that out. I mean, how nice is that? I think that it should stay there. So let's just say the little copy to clipboard. Thank you. Oh, and I needed to commit that. But there's going to be a whole bunch of commits going on because it's doing a bunch of stuff in the background. There's this dude, Mikey, um, big fucking Mikey, that is in the PowerShell community. And he's like, man, every commit really has to tell, say what it's doing. I see it as telling a story, and I wonder if he likes these. I will say I click this and it's just for me to basically know where I'm at, but I don't love the commit messages for Copilot. A lot of times it doesn't get exactly like it gets. I guess it's the difference between thinking and feeling. Like it gets the thinking part. Yes, that's literally what I did, but that's not the reason that I did it. So anyway, I do wonder about Mikey's position on this, but I'm gonna commit it, and then a whole bunch of changes are going on all at once, so I'll never really know. But generally, what I do is after each of these chats start afresh, I will create a new commit. So the copy to clipboard on the first page, on the front page, appears only when I hover over it with a mouse. Can you make it visible all the time? I don't have to. I usually say, like, I'll say, can you? And then I'll delete it and say, just make it visible all the time. This is what I've always wanted from my AI. I mean, as whenever I started working with AI, I was so impressed by Klein and by Rue because it goes out like with Copilot at the time, and this is back in 2003, 2004. I would have to literally tell it what to look at. And what's great about these new agentic coders, which includes GitHub Copilot now, is that it will whenever it sends it over, there's a prompt in the background that says this is what my directory looks like. That's because the memory has gotten so big that you can give it all of that information, and so it knows where to go and look, and I don't have to care about any of this, and that's why it's all a vibe. I don't have to care about very much. I can, watch TV. And now that Claude Code is online, it'll be way easier. It just connects right into, I think, let's go see where that's at. Claude.ai/web. No, man, what was their chat settings? What could it be if it's not web? Claude Code online web. I remember the news like didn't really the blog post didn't have it and I had to guess. There we go. Slash code. All right. So this is really cool. You can select your repository. I've already connected it to mine. So let's say I'm working on AI tools, which I was before. I just do that, and it already created um, one pull request called refactor progress bar in PowerShell script, which is a task that I needed to do. And see, find a small to do in the code base and do it. So I would be able to do it here, and then it submits a PR, which is so nice. I forgot why I was talking about that, but so it hasn't appeared there yet. Hey! All right. Wow. So I would just have to click create PR so I can look at it and let's see what it did. Not gonna lie, I'm not too great with I don't know, I'm just gonna create the PR and then I can modify it later. So let's see what it said. I mean, beautiful. Absolutely done. Let's do it, Claude. That's so addictive. Let's go see what else we can do with Claude Code. Beautiful. I like to see the ones with interactions because it means that one of the other DBA tools contributors like talked about it and therefore they did a lot of the thinking for me. What happened here? I don't know why it went all the way back to the beginning, but why? Oh, it must have been closed. Okay. I love Docker. Let's see what's going on here. I'm not real sure looking at this if this is asking for a change to our repo or a change to our instructions on how to do things. But who cares? Let's see what Claude Claude has to say about this. I don't know why it's not popping up. Claude. Please look into this to see what's going on. If it's an issue with our code, suggest a fix and a PR. Right now, I am on the $100 a month plan, but I do go down, right? So for me, I get burnt out several times a year, and if I find myself not using it as much, then I will stop using it, and I'll go down to the 20 a month. And I actually thought that this month I was going to be burnt out, and then I wasn't because I don't know, something exciting happened. Look at that, so cool. Let's go look at some more. The creator of Rue Code, um, his name is Matt, and we actually were friends whenever I lived in San Francisco back in 2003. We went to Startup Saturday together and watched, like, Mark Zuckerberg was there and the creator of Gmail and Chris Anderson from Wired and the long tail. Um, and uh, Matt has always had so many startups that he's been working on, and it was so disorienting whenever I was using Rue Code and loving it. And I reviewed it on the VS Code marketplace, and then I was like, oh my god, it's actually his project. But he had a post that said that the 80/20 rule within his repository still applies because they throw out 80% of the suggestions, and keep 20% of the code, which is a bit flipped. But he still said even though they throw out 80% of AI generated code in this process, um, they are still moving forward so much faster. So that's interesting. Oh man, this is just phenomenal. Wow. I'm blown away. This is fun and entertaining. Look at that. And what's great about Claude versus GPT is I actually thought that their data sets that they were trained on, that Claude just used high quality. But then I asked Claude and ChatGPT why Claude is so much better. And both of them agreed that it's because they have this something called like a constitutional theory or method or something like that. But it's actually the prompting that makes it so smart. But what I love about Claude is that if Claude says something, I just have a confidence that it's probably gonna be right. Sometimes it's not, and but other times, like I definitely have more confidence with it over ChatGPT. I mean, wow, this is so awesome to see right in front of my eyes. I'd seen this on the Rue Code repository and was blown away, and I'm really happy that Anthropic put Claude in it. And I do hope for something similar. So GitHub does offer the Copilot CLI and this sort of functionality. Um, but I and it's awesome. The price point is incredible, and I would 100% rather use GitHub Copilot over not. But if I can afford Claude Code at this time, then that is my preference. So I do want to go through a few more of these to see. Yeah, this is me. I think I'm just going to close this. I just wanted to put it out there for people to know. We switched. Microsoft offers code signing now, and I wanted to let people know what was up. I'm going to close this. But I remember Andreas Jordan really got this number down pretty low. I think maybe in the 240s, down from maybe 360. It was awesome. And hopefully Claude can help him whenever he goes on those tasks, those endeavors. Mm. I don't know. God dang it. Are you confident? is properly escaped and will work across all supported LDBA tools because Microsoft supports a different LDBA tool supported versions. Potato just made the grossest sound. I thought he had diarrhea, but I guess he's just eating some food. He is the loudest cat. He's so loud, he's like a dog. Let's see if Claude just like talks back or converses. Talks back sounds sad. Sad. All right, let's go do some more. Well, why not? Look at the pattern of how we support things like checksum. Is it appropriate to set this as a DB tools setting? Either way, please add checksum support for test DBA as backup. This is so fun. Oh my God. I'm going to blow through all of my credits. If anybody wants to throw out a sponsorship for 200 a month, what'd be cool is like if we all came together and like did the 200 under a DBA tools thing and then just like blew through, or I mean like any kind of open source repository all come together, um get like a 1 month subscription and then just go through and answer every single one of the issues. That would be fabulous. Man, that's amazing. Okay, close that. Look at that, multiple at once as well. I guess since Claude, so a lot of times I don't like Claude.md and agents.md because it gives you the false assumption that it's going to remember this file throughout the entire conversation. And I just find that compliance isn't high enough for me to invest my time in that. I just like starting the prompt over each and every time. Like this is sending my entire prompt every time. So it's accurate with the first file and it's accurate with the 97th file. It's not losing the context. And so with Claude.md, with agents.md, etc., um, it loses that context too much. So I don't invest time in it. But now that I'm looking at the way that this is doing it, maybe Claude isn't having a conversation. Maybe it is doing it the way that I am, where it's like, an entire one, like a call per task. And so maybe a Claude.md or an agents.md would be effective here. Nice. Nice. Look at that. Look at that. God. Fun. A blast. Most fun I've had in years, as far as computers go. In general, the most fun that I've had in years has been, I'd say moving to the Netherlands has been a lot of fun. They make things so easy. Very impressed by this country. Ugh. Yeah. Let's see, Claude, do you have any, I love this, suggestions for, let's see if Andreas already did. No, he just can't reproduce it. Let's see. I can't wait to see what it says. I am having the best fun. Today would only be better if it was like a Saturday or a Friday afternoon. But I gotta go to work tomorrow. Beautiful. I want to keep that open, so I'm gonna go to issues. Now that each of our PRs takes like 4 hours to go through, I'm probably have to come back tomorrow after all these changes. This often happens on older versions. I wonder what version they're using. 2.1. So whenever I said older version, I actually meant PowerShell. But 2.1.30 looks pretty old. Let's go see what version we're on. Yeah, I didn't think that this would be an issue. Oh, what bugs me. Nope. Something that Claude.md might be good about is adding it so that it never uses splats. Sorry, it never uses backticks. I absolutely hate backticks, so let's go to DBA Tools repository. So we actually have a style. I have a style for DBA tools. Oops, style.md. Yeah, it was AI tools. I want to add this as well. I had an older one that actually says DBA tools and not generic. There we go. Module. I had rewritten it. Yeah. Also add this style guide. Once it writes it, I'm going to go back and see because this style is specifically for the pester migration. And now we need one. You know what? I'll just tell it. Also, this style guide was written for the pester v4 to v5 migration. Generalize it for use within the DBA tools repository. We are in I don't know why it's taking so long. I like how I'm like, I'm not going to use Claude.md. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to use Claude.md. Hey, I'm open to being wrong. So actually, recently even used Claude to create AI tools pretty much from scratch. I told it to use PS Framework, did a beautiful job. Um, and I'm going to be releasing it soon. And I recommend it. It eventually, like, it started looking like my own code. I don't remember if I told it to do that, but it was nice. All right, let's see what kind of style guide we got. No backticks, always use splats. Yeah, backticks are an anti-pattern. Thank you. You know what else I hate is that they're like mandatory equals true. Like, just make it mandatory. She's got a boyfriend anyway. Let me see if it's mandatory. I hate how some code still uses true, which hasn't been required since PSB 2. Please instruct it not to use the equal true syntax since mandatory attributes in the parameters don't require it. I mean, I don't know if it needs a whole section, but whatever. Comment and parameter. I love that. Thank you. Generic splat without a purpose. It's true. All right. Gonna commit right to the repo. There's nothing to check here. Move along. Heck yeah. That was so cool. Add a command for getting failover logs. Let's go see. I do love some cluster commands. Yeah. Oh. I really should have made this its own module, the WSF commands. I'm not convinced. Get out of here, Python. Do we fix this? Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. All right, so it added that, and I did ask for minimal changes. The C2 files were changed. Oh, what about the rest? I'm gonna have to create an issue that says like we recently added a thing to write progress helper, refer to whatever. I wonder if I could tell Claude to create a new one. Let's see. Let's see. Let's push the limits of Claude. New PR that addresses all other commands that use write progress helper and needs a completed. Is it completed or complete? Completed. All right. All other commands that need. This is incredible. It's just a blast. Oh my God. I love it. This ghost loves it. Really? I mean, like, two. Oh, that's why. This is a long ass time ago. This is the funnest thing I've ever done. The only problem is that I'm going I'm gonna lose track. Hopefully it tags me. I'm gonna lose track, and also um yeah, it kills me that our tests are taking so long. And that the VM scale set in Azure is so hard. I'm at the very last step, but I've been working on it for like I've worked on it a total of 2 weeks, and it almost burnt me out. Yeah, they need to uh this should be fixed. Closed is fixed. Just never would have imagined this 5 years ago. My God. It's gorgeous. What? I don't want that. I need to remove that. It's using all of my credits. All right. I think that this is removed. To be updated. I updated the README a while back. Yeah. Not sure what to do with that one. Let's go check my credit usage. Hey, this is nice. So I am, it is bumping it up. I'm pushing it hard, but it does reset in 11 minutes. So that's nice. Probably because I'm on, at least here, I'm using a ton of haiku and not sonnet. Let's see, 71 out of 97. So it's just like doing everything for me. So, I think that I'm done here. I just really wanted to show people how it is that I vibe code. In the future, very soon, I am going to be releasing AI tools. And what AI tools does is it's super cool. It wraps very popular AI tools. I don't know if I put them. Yeah, so Claude Code, Cursor, GitHub Copilot, Gemini, Aider, Codex, which is OpenAI, ChatGPT, their command line, and then Olama. So it wraps all of these so that you don't have to care about their specific parameters. Sometimes to pipe things in, you have to do -p. Sometimes you have to do codex exec. With this, it standardizes it to PowerShell commands that work exactly like PowerShell. And what's awesome that I love, I want to show you this. It was so beautiful whenever it wrote this, and this was primarily written by Claude. But something I love in the PSM1 is this. So it goes through anytime that I need to add a new CLI, it has this basic, well, it's not too basic, but It has a dictionary with all of the stuff that it needs. So with each of these, you don't have to care. You just say install dash AI tool Claude and it knows what to do instead of going to each of their websites, and it handles Windows, Linux, and Mac. You can even upgrade. I would actually upgrade right now, but it's processing all of that. And something that's awesome is anytime that I make a change, it goes through and it executes all of these commands in the tests against Windows, against Linux, and against Mac. So it wrote all of my tests. It wrote this really awesome tools definition, which includes even like I wanted to add verbosity, um, and things like that. Whenever you initialize it, it has the init commands. So yeah, this allows you to very easily install, uninstall, update, and interact with a number of CLIs. And I'll just give you a quick overview of my opinion of each of these. Claude Code, the subscription is required. I don't think that there's any free tier at all, but it is absolutely the best. And I was surprised at how far I got with the $20 subscription. The only reason that I bumped it up to 100 was because first of all, I was using Sonnet at the time. But second, it's because I'm doing multiple things at once and I got addicted. But the 20 the $20 a month one, surprisingly effective. Cursor AI does have a free tier available. I don't know much about it. I installed it years ago and it was a VS Code. Like, I couldn't use VS Code anymore, right? I had to use Cursor and I hate that. I want to stay in my own um, workflow, and VS Code is my workflow. So I don't use it, but I was excited that I could use the Cursor AI CLI for free. GitHub Copilot does have a free tier available. You do have to sign up for a GitHub account, but it's awesome. You can actually get access to GitHub, the CLI, the Copilot CLI, and their models. So you can create and implement AI solutions without having a subscription to anything, which is awesome. Google Gemini was, I was blown out of the water, honestly. I was comparing whenever I was doing my Pester V4 to V5. Let me tell you, I'll show you just how wild actually. So AI tools, if we go here, whenever I was doing the migration, these are all of the commands. So you have the original prompt, which is migrate all of this, write it to file. Here's the file path. Here's the command name, and then here's all the parameters because that was needed. Um, and then look at this. Like, so these are the migration instructions. Very long. That's the point of this. And then here's like just you go on and on. It loves examples. So I'm just giving it example after example. This is all of the instructions that it took to successfully migrate from 4 to 5. I couldn't just say migrate this from PowerShell, Pester 4 to 5. Um, but because it's so long, that does fill up the context. And a lot of times I've seen that context sort of overflow almost with Copilot, like it loses track. And with GPT, it 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 it's just not so great. Um, it will do a very partial thing, but the Gemini absolutely came in second to Claude Code. The biggest difference is that I've seen Gemini bomb out where it'll like put a backtick before every single dollar sign, like variable. Um, Claude Code does not bomb out. Google Gemini did. Um, but that was like one in every 20 times. I did have 700 files. But with Gemini, definitely close second when it comes specifically to refactoring. Aider is bring your own tokens. Um, it can get very expensive. Totally good CLI. The Codex is OpenAI's. You have to fiddle with it. I think like And right now it's having a bad week. I will say all of these have great weeks, all of them have bad weeks. And right now Codex is everybody's like, oh man, it was working, one shot prompting last week and now it's not. So they're having a bad week right now. And I've only tried it during the bad week. So I'm like, man, why does anyone like Codex? Olama is getting so impressive. I don't know what people are doing with local models, but man, they have gone from just like not working to working very, very nicely. I do want to show you something. So you might be like, Chrissy, why would I want a CLI? What's really cool is that you can build those in to like build on top of them. And let me show you AI tools. So I wrote something. This is also something that I'm working on. And I wrote it using AI. So if I do, this is a social card media generator, which makes social cards. So we're going to function F5 and execute it. Hopefully it's in a state that it is buildable. So it's going to open up a new VS Code with my extension available. It's very beautiful. I like the way that it looks. Usually it doesn't take this long to build. I know, right? There we go. So we have this sample blog post up here that it'll eventually open. I'm gonna have to fast forward this part. So the social card is like if you paste in something to your friend and it kind of pops up, and it's like it's pretty design. Sometimes it's a picture, whatever. That's called a social card. And here's a blog post that I have building a VS Code extension with AI. And it talks about how what I love about GitHub Copilot and VS Code is that because it has that free tier, you could just build stuff that works and like give people AI functionality. So we could see here that it loaded all of these models. So these are the different models from GitHub that you can use. Sonnet isn't so great, but all of the GPT models are pretty good. And then here are all of like if you have Cursor installed, if you have Claude installed, and Codex, etc. So we can click here and say generate designs, and since it's already set on Haiku, we can see what it's like for Haiku to actually design a social card generator and compare that against something like 4.0 Mini or 3.5 GPT. The only thing is that like I'm sending so many instructions that it does take a minute or two. I don't know how it came to code. Oh, I typed in Codex. Whoops. Let's see how Codex is doing today. So this is going to be GPT if it works. I don't know if I've logged in, but it hasn't bombed out, so it probably will. Yeah. So this is what I only have it to do one at a time right now, and then you can export that or you could click on it and then it opens up this preview. Just love that. All right, so let's compare that to um, Claude. It was so fun building this social card generator. I've wanted this. What it does and the difference, and my wife was like, call it the Lemaire technique. Why not? Makes me laugh. Yeah, whatever. Um, so this instead of using what's it called whenever you use Dolly, or whatever the OpenAI generation, what this does instead of generating an image is that it generates HTML, so that makes it far more flexible um to recreate, and it'll do it um like more accurately whenever you ask it for an update, right? So I can say make it red, and then it can easily make it red instead of like whenever you send right now. I've found that models that can generate an image, which aren't all of them, whenever you ask it for an edit, it just gets like worse and worse. But what's great about HTML is that it's so easy to edit. And I do need to figure out, oh, that's nice. I didn't tell it what to make red, but that makes sense. Um, so then, yeah, we can compare that. I think that the prettiest, either 4.1 or 5 is the prettiest designer. So I'm going to click here. This is right here. You might be like, why does it say AI powered like that? It's the conversion of the like PNG program, and that's one of the reasons that I haven't released it yet. I would like to get that fixed because it looks really nice, but then it can't export itself. What you could do is make it bigger and then take a screenshot, but then you have to figure out, oh, I need to make this like 1200 by 600, etc. And what's great about this save as is that it just saves it as the proper size. And you can give it all of the instructions that you want right here. Like you can say, make it look like a PowerShell logo, add a cartoon outline or something like that. And if HTML and CSS can do it, then it'll do it. So yeah, there's so many things that you can do with AI. This is one of my favorites. I think that I'll also make it into a little image thing and then it'll automatically put into your blog. But not just images. And I talk about this in my book, AI for Everyday IT. Like you can do um, you could do like mermaid diagrams. You can just render all of these things with languages like latex. GPT-5 not working. And it's so funny. This was actually one of my prompts. I was like, oh, whenever it takes a really long time and it hits the end, make it say like, oh wow, this is taking forever. And oh, that is really nice. I like that, honestly. I think I'm gonna save this one. But yeah, that was supposed to be an approximation and it just took me literally. So yeah. Um that concludes my whole AI video and showing how it is that I use it. I hope that you've enjoyed it and that you've learned from it. I might be making some additional videos coming up soon. So yeah, bon weekend.